Hi, I'm William Tenholder. I've been playing for over 50 years, and after winning thousands of games, I like to share the insights of a chess player for beginners and intermediates to help you to deal with various situations. In this case, we're dealing with the pawn rush, and this is very interesting and will be great for beginners and even intermediates. How to handle the pawn rush. Okay, so I open with the ready opening, knight to f3. They come out with the queen pawn. That's traditional. I oppose, of course, that's what I'm thinking. If a pawn comes out, I must oppose it. Then their next move, they're looking to generate some power over there. They're planning to bring out the bishop. And so I just strengthen my position and ready to bring out my bishop. Now this is interesting because this is starting to look like the pawn rush. It's starting to look like queenside attack. So what do I want to do? Well, as always, I always say attack. And so I put on the attack, give them a little jolt, and let's see what happens here. So that's great. So now they brought out their other pawn, and I've just weakened their structure. Job done. So now I brought back my bishop to the best diagonal square. Look at all the white squares that I'm controlling with the bishop. It's a great position. Now they start with the pawn rush. And of course, this is to develop as well. So now this is a great time to castle because there's a pause in the action. When there's a pause in the action, that's the best time. Take that advantage of that pause in the action. Nothing's under threat. Go ahead and castle. So the next move, I take advantage of the fact that their pawns are so promoted that they don't have much defense. So I see a weakness, and this is what you need to look for. There's a weakness on the pawn c6. There's a weakness for, in some cases, white squares, but especially now in the middle of the board, there's a weakness. And this is how you deal with the pawn rush. You look for the weaknesses and then exploit them. So again, there's another pawn, and this is definitely a pawn rush. They haven't moved any of their pieces, and it's interesting that they do have a lot of open diagonals. You can see the bishops have open diagonals, and the knights all have a place to move. So it's actually pretty interesting. They've defended against what I could have done with my queen. Queen to h5 would have been a check that they cannot defend easily because I can take, if I go queen to h5 and they push the pawn, I can take the pawn with my knight and there's nothing they can do about it. Yeah, so this is a very interesting position. Now I bring my queen out because I want to get inside of the territory. And so they bring out a threat with the bishop. And so I counteract that threat. I feel like I can kind of pose this position in order to get my queen inside their pawn position. Now that's interesting. Queen is forming an attack with the bishop, and that's not to be underestimated. In this case, though, I can get in and have a check here. And this is very important because now that's unopposed. And so now I have control. King has to move because there's no defender left I come in with a check. Now that's serious trouble because that's a fork on the king and the rook. Now this is where it's important to make the right decision. And so what I do here is I take the pawn because I can now take with check. And I can take with my knight, the rook, check, take the queen, and I've wiped out the whole king side. So yeah, that's what they were working to do, but it's easy to defend. All you do is move your king over. So don't be too afraid of that. The queen has no parking spot. There's no place on e4, f3. There's no place for the queen to go. G3, F4, that's all protected by pawns. So now, yeah, that's the defense. And now it's important, this is calculated. You must take the rook. This threat, and it has a lot of threats, because if the queen moves, there's a checkmate in there. Queen to d7. If the queen moves, queen to d7, checkmate. Or getting very close to it. So now I'm inside the territory, and this is what happens when you play a decent player, as I am. Then you get into trouble with pushing too many pawns. So the next move, I take their pawn. Now the king side is completely wiped out. They take the pawn, but I'm not worried about that. I have lots of possibilities, and I'm not worried about pawn takes pawn again. So I just simply take the bishop, which gives me another check threat. The whole queen side is stalemated. And so now queen wants to protect and take the pawn on c2. So I've got check. Unfortunate for this player that they didn't see that coming, because that's a fork on the king and queen. So now I simply take the queen, check, takes, check, and that's the end of the game. So this is a good lesson to be learned about the pawn rush, and what a decent opponent is going to do is get in behind your promoted pawns. So enjoy your chess. I hope this will help you. This is great for beginners and intermediates. Take care. God bless.